First Contact's fatal flaw. The Mariax warship Celestial Judgment hung in geosynchronous orbit above Earth, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight in prismatic patterns. Commander Vix stood at the observation deck, her iridescent scales shifting from deep purple to midnight blue as she contemplated the planet below. Unlike most of her species' angular features, her face bore smoother contours, a trait that had marked her as different since hatching, much like her unconventional approach to conquest. Preliminary analysis complete, Commander, announced Science Director Neth, his claws clicking against the holographic display. These humans are remarkably resilient. Their bodies process toxins at rates we've never encountered. They actively seek out substances that would kill most species. Vix's auxiliary breathing membranes fluttered with interest. Explain. They willingly consume neurotoxins for pleasure. Caffeine, alcohol, capsaicin. They've evolved alongside some of the most potent natural poisons on their world. Traditional methods of chemical warfare would be inefficient. Then we adapt our approach, Vix replied, her inner eyelids narrowing. Instead of trying to poison them, we'll use their adaptation against them. Show me the compound analysis. Neth manipulated the holographic display, revealing molecular structures that rotated in the air between them. We've engineered something unique. It binds to their pleasure centers while stimulating their natural adaptation response. The more they consume, the more their bodies crave it. They'll willingly participate in their own subjugation. Package it as a luxury, Vix ordered. These humans value status symbols. Make it exclusive, desirable. What do they call their premium intoxicants? Designer drugs, craft beverages, artisanal spirits. Neth listed, scrolling through Earth's data networks. Perfect. Begin production. I want distribution to start in their major population centers within the solar cycle. Choose a name that appeals to their desire for enhancement and exclusivity. The plan proceeded with precision. Within weeks, sleek bottles of Transcendence appeared in high-end nightclubs and exclusive restaurants across Earth's major cities. The marketing was subtle but effective. Mysterious invitations, influential people seen with the distinctive violet bottles, rumors of extraordinary experiences. Dr. Sarah Chen, lead researcher at the Global Biochemistry Institute, received her invitation to an exclusive tasting event at Manhattan's most elite rooftop bar. Her colleague, Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, had been insisting she join him for weeks. "You need to try this," Marcus said, holding up a crystal glass filled with shimmering violet liquid. "It's unlike anything I've ever analyzed. The molecular structure it's practically art." Sarah studied the liquid with professional skepticism. Natural or synthetic? That's the fascinating part, Marcus replied, his eyes bright with scientific excitement. It's both and neither. The base compound resembles plant alkaloids, but the molecular arrangement, it's like nothing terrestrial. Sarah took the glass, noting how the liquid seemed to catch and hold light. Any side effects? Just clarity. Pure, perfect clarity. Marcus smiled, and a peculiar feeling of evolution. Sarah raised the glass to her lips, inhaling the subtle aroma that reminded her of midnight orchids and ozone. The taste was extraordinary, complex layers of flavor that seemed to dance across her tongue, each sip revealing new dimensions. But it was the effect that caught her attention. Within minutes, her mind felt sharper, clearer. Colors seemed more vivid, patterns more apparent. She could feel her pulse, not just the beat but the intricate dance of cells through her vessels. Amazing, isn't it? Marcus watched her reaction. I've been documenting the effects. There's something happening at the cellular level, a kind of controlled mutation. Our bodies aren't just processing this substance, they're learning from it. Above them, Commander Vix received the first reports with satisfaction. Consumption patterns were exceeding projections. Humans were not only accepting transcendence, they were actively seeking it out. The compound was spreading through their population centers exactly as planned. But in her private quarters, reviewing the detailed cellular analysis, Vix noticed something unexpected. The human's adaptive response wasn't following predicted patterns. Their cells weren't being overwhelmed or subdued. They were integrating the compound, using it as a template for something new. "Interesting," she murmured, her scales shifting to a thoughtful green. "These humans don't just survive toxins, they transform them." The first phase was complete, but as transcendence flowed through human cities like violet rivers, no one, not even Vix, fully understood what evolution they had set in motion. The sweet taste of evolution. 3 months after Transcendence's introduction, Dr. Sarah Chen's laboratory had become a fortress of data and discovery. Holographic displays flickered with cellular analyses, while rows of violet bottles lined the containment units. Each one represented a different production batch, and each told the same impossible story. "Look at this," Sarah called to Marcus, who was reviewing blood samples from voluntary test subjects. She manipulated a 3D model of human DNA interacting with the compound. "The molecular structure isn't just binding to our cells, it's teaching them." Marcus moved closer, his dark eyes reflecting the dancing light of the hologram. "Teaching them what?" "Everything. How to process energy more efficiently, how to repair damage faster, how to—" She paused, double-checking her readings. "How to evolve." Above Earth, Commander Vix faced a growing crisis. The latest reports from her science team showed consumption rates of Transcendence had exceeded all projections. Humans weren't just accepting the compound, they were adapting to it at an alarming rate. What should have weakened them was instead catalyzing unprecedented cellular changes. "Explain this," she demanded, projecting human medical data before her science team. "Their neuroplasticity is increasing. Cellular regeneration is accelerating. This isn't suppression, it's enhancement." Science Director Neth's scales had faded to a sickly gray. "The compound was designed to create dependency, to make them reliant on us for survival. But their bodies, they're not just processing it. They're reverse engineering it." In New York, Sarah and Marcus had gathered a select group of researchers to share their findings. The conference room hummed with tension as Sarah presented her data. "The compound we know as Transcendence isn't terrestrial," she announced, silencing the murmurs of conversation. "Its molecular structure shows signs of deliberate engineering far beyond our current capabilities. But that's not the most interesting part." She brought up a series of cellular images, showing the progression of changes in regular consumers of the substance. "Our bodies aren't just adapting to process this compound. They're using it as a blueprint to upgrade our cellular structure. We're not becoming dependent. We're becoming enhanced." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a leading geneticist, leaned forward. "Enhanced how?" Marcus stepped in, pulling up his own data. "Increased cognitive function, accelerated healing, enhanced sensory perception, but most significantly, improved cellular communication and adaptation. Our bodies are learning to evolve in real time." The implications stunned the room into silence. Humanity had been handed what was meant to be a subtle poison, and instead of succumbing, they were transforming it into an evolutionary catalyst. Meanwhile, in homes and offices across the globe, people were noticing changes. Athletes reported faster recovery times. Students found complex problems becoming clearer. Artists spoke of seeing colors they'd never perceived before. What had started as an exclusive luxury was becoming a tool for human advancement. Vix paced her command chamber, her scales cycling through colors of distress. "We must halt distribution immediately. Recall all remaining stock." "It's too late," Neth responded, his voice heavy with resignation. "They've already begun analyzing its structure. Several research facilities have isolated the key compounds. And their bodies, they don't need the original substance anymore. They're producing their own versions internally." On Earth, Sarah made another breakthrough. Studying the compound structure had revealed something else, traces of its creators. "These molecular patterns," she explained to Marcus, "they're not random. They're a signature. Whoever engineered this, they left their mark. The realization spread through scientific communities worldwide. Humanity hadn't just been given a drink. They'd been given proof of alien life and advanced biochemical engineering. But instead of falling victim to what was clearly meant to be a subtle invasion, they were turning it into the greatest evolutionary leap in human history. In secret facilities across the globe, researchers began to decode the alien biochemistry hidden within transcendence. Each discovery revealed more about their would-be conquerors, and more importantly, about humanity's own untapped potential. As Vix watched her carefully crafted plan unravel, she received a message that made her auxiliary hearts stutter. Humans weren't just adapting to transcendence, they were improving it. The first synthesized versions were appearing in laboratories, each iteration more refined than the last. "They're not just surviving," she whispered, watching the data stream past. "They're thriving." And soon, she turned to her science director, her scales now a deep, worried crimson. Soon they'll be looking for its source. The sweet taste of evolution had awakened something in humanity, not just physical changes, but a burning curiosity about their mysterious benefactors. The Mariacs had hoped to create dependent subjects. Instead, they had created enhanced beings who were now very interested in meeting their would-be conquerors. Adaptation's edge. 6 months into what historians would later call the Transcendence Era, humanity stood at the brink of unprecedented change. In her lab, Dr. Sarah Chen studied her own blood sample under a quantum microscope, watching as her cells demonstrated abilities that should have been impossible. "Our cellular structure is completely rewriting itself," she told Marcus, who was documenting the changes across their test group. "It's like our DNA has been waiting for this catalyst, this key to unlock our full potential." The changes weren't subtle anymore. Around the world, the first generation of transcendence consumers began exhibiting abilities that defied conventional science. Enhanced healing had become standard, cuts and bruises vanishing within hours. Cognitive enhancement went far beyond improved memory, extending to pattern recognition and problem-solving abilities that bordered on precognition. On the Celestial Judgment, Commander Vix received increasingly alarming reports. "They've mapped our biochemical signatures," Science Director Neth reported, his scales practically translucent with fear. "They're not just adapting to our compound, they're using it to understand us." Vix's inner eyelids flickered rapidly. "Explain." "The humans have decoded the molecular structure so completely that they can read our biological markers. They know we're here. They know what we are. And he hesitated, "they're becoming more than we anticipated." In New York, Sarah and Marcus had gathered with an international team of scientists to document the full scope of changes. Dr. Elena Volkov, a Russian quantum physicist, shared her findings. "The compound isn't just affecting our bodies," she explained, projecting a complex neural map. "It's enhancing our quantum coherence. Some subjects are demonstrating limited forms of quantum entanglement between their cells. The implications for human consciousness are staggering." Marcus nodded, adding his own data. "We're seeing the emergence of what we're calling adaptive intelligence, not just learning from experience, but actively evolving in response to challenges. Our test subjects are solving problems by literally evolving new neural pathways in real time." Sarah pulled up her latest analysis. "But here's what's most fascinating. These changes are becoming hereditary. Children born to parents who consumed transcendence are showing these enhancements from birth, but more refined, more stable." The Mariac ship became a hub of frantic activity as they realized the full scope of their miscalculation. Their careful plan to subjugate humanity through dependency had instead triggered an evolutionary explosion. "They're not just looking up anymore," Neth reported, showing Vix the latest satellite data. "They're reaching out. Their space programs have accelerated exponentially. They're adapting our biochemistry to enhance their technology. The compound was supposed to make them submit. Instead, it's teaching them how to reach us." On Earth, the first confirmed cases of enhanced humans, demonstrating abilities beyond physical and mental improvement, began to emerge. A construction worker in Dubai survived a 30-story fall, his bones and organs restructuring themselves before he hit the ground. A firefighter in Seoul walked through flames unharmed, her cells adapting in real time to extreme temperatures. Sarah found herself at the center of these discoveries, her own body a testament to the changes. She could process information at speeds that made computer arrays seem sluggish, see patterns in data that revealed the underlying structure of reality itself. "We need to make contact," she told the assembled scientific council. "Not wait for them to reveal themselves. We know they're watching. We know they're in orbit. And thanks to their own compound, we now understand enough about their biology to communicate." The council chamber erupted in debate, but Sarah continued. "They gave us this gift, whether they meant to or not. We've learned more about our own potential in 6 months than in all of human history. But we're not done evolving yet." Marcus stepped forward, displaying their latest project. "We've synthesized an improved version of transcendence, one that doesn't just enhance our existing capabilities, but allows us to develop new ones. We're not just adapting anymore. We're transcending our original limitations entirely." Above Earth, Vix received the transmission that confirmed her worst fears. The humans had broadcast a message, not in any Earth language, but in perfectly synthesized Mariax biochemical signals. They weren't just aware of their observers, they had learned to speak their language at a molecular level. "They're inviting us to talk," Neth translated unnecessarily. They say they want to thank us." Vix's scales shifted through a complex pattern of colors as she realized the full magnitude of their situation. They had come to conquer through subtle manipulation, only to create something entirely new. A humanity that was rapidly becoming more than anyone, including humans themselves, had imagined possible. The age of hidden observation was over. Humanity had not only survived their poison, they had transformed it into the key to their own evolution. And now, enhanced and aware, they were ready to meet their would-be conquerors not as subjects, but as equals, or perhaps as something more. Rising resistance. The first official contact between humanity and the Mariax took place in a virtual space created by humanity's newly enhanced minds. Dr. Sarah Chen stood as humanity's representative, her consciousness projecting into a quantum-encoded meeting ground where physical laws were more suggestion than rule. Commander Vix's avatar materialized with a shimmer of iridescent scales, her form both magnificent and uncertain. She had expected to meet subjugated beings begging for their next dose of transcendence. Instead, she faced evolved humans who had mastered her species' own biological technology. "You've come far," Vix observed, her thoughts translating instantly in the shared space. "Further than we imagined possible." Sarah's response carried undertones of amusement. "We've always been good at exceeding expectations, especially when someone tries to poison us." Across Earth, humanity was changing faster than ever. The improved version of transcendence, now called awakening, had spread globally. Unlike its predecessor, this version was created by humans, for humans, designed to unlock potential rather than create dependency. Marcus led the global monitoring effort from the newly established Evolution Response Center in Geneva. Holographic displays showed the cascade of changes sweeping through the human population. Children born to enhanced parents displayed abilities that defied conventional physics, healing by manipulating their own temporal fields, communicating through quantum entanglement, even manipulating matter at the molecular level. "We're not just adapting anymore," he explained to the United Nations Security Council. "We're becoming something new, something that was always within us, waiting for the right key." On the Celestial Judgment, Vix faced a mutiny. Half her crew wanted to flee, seeing the rapidly evolving humans as an existential threat. The others, led by Science Director Neth, were fascinated by what they'd unleashed. "They're achieving in months what should take millennia," Neth argued, displaying the latest data. "Their neural networks are developing quantum properties we barely understand. Some of them are beginning to perceive multiple dimensions simultaneously." Sarah's team had decoded the full extent of the Mariax presence in Earth's orbit. Their cloaked ships, once invisible to human technology, now stood out like beacons to enhanced human perception. But instead of preparing for war, humanity had a different response. "We want to offer you a choice," Sarah told Vix in their quantum conference. "You came to conquer us. Instead, you gave us the tools to unlock our potential. Now we offer you the same opportunity." She shared the formula for awakening, humanity's refined version of transcendence. "We've modified it to work with Mariak's biology. Your attempt to subjugate us taught us more about your species than centuries of observation could have. We're returning the favor." Vix's scales shifted through patterns of disbelief and fear. "You would share this power with those who try to enslave you." "Evolution isn't about holding others down," Sarah responded. "It's about lifting everyone up. We're offering you partnership in what comes next." The offer sent shockwaves through the Mariak's fleet. Their carefully laid plans for conquest had not only failed, but had resulted in something unprecedented. A species offering to share the power that was meant to enslave them. On Earth, the changes continued. Cities began to transform as enhanced humans reshaped their environment at the molecular level. Clean energy replaced fossil fuels as people learned to tap into quantum fields directly. Disease became rare as human bodies gained the ability to rewrite their own genetic code. Marcus documented it all, leading a team of enhanced scientists in studying their own evolution. "We're not just changing physically," he reported. "Our consciousness is expanding. We're beginning to perceive the underlying fabric of reality itself." But not all of the Mariaks were ready to accept humanity's offer. A faction of hardliners, led by Fleet Admiral Zex, prepared for open warfare. They would rather destroy Earth than see humans ascend to such power. "They're too dangerous to be allowed to continue," Zex declared, marshaling his forces. "We must end this now, before they spread beyond their world." Sarah sensed the coming conflict through the quantum fields that now connected enhanced humans. "They're afraid," she told Marcus as they prepared Earth's defenses. "Not of what we might do to them, but of what we represent. The possibility that their own evolution has been artificially stunted by their fear of change." The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just humanity's fate, but the course of evolution for both species. The Mariaks had come to Earth expecting to find primitives ready for subjugation. Instead, they found equals who had transformed their poison into prosperity, and now offered to share that transformation with their would-be conquerors. As Zex's battle fleet approached Earth, humanity prepared not for war, but for something far more radical, a demonstration of just how far they had evolved beyond the need for conventional conflict. The true power of transcendence was about to be revealed, and the universe would never be the same. Evolution's victory. As Admiral Zex's battle fleet descended through Earth's atmosphere, they expected to find a planet cowering in fear. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented in galactic history: absolute stillness. No defense systems activated. No weapons locked onto their ships. 3 billion enhanced humans simply stood in unified consciousness, their minds linked through quantum fields that transcended normal spacetime. Dr. Sarah Chen, at the center of this vast neural network, reached out not with weapons but with understanding. The quantum consciousness of humanity touched the minds of every Mariak soldier, sharing not just thoughts but experiences, feelings, and possibilities. "They're not even trying to fight," Zex snarled from his command ship. "Open fire." But when his crews tried to activate their weapons, they found their ship's systems responding to human thought patterns instead. In their drive to understand the Mariak's poison, humanity had learned to communicate with technology at its most fundamental level. "We don't need to fight," Sarah's voice echoed in every Mariak's mind. "You've already given us everything we need. Now let us give something back." Through their shared consciousness, humanity showed the Mariaks a vision of what they could become. The enhanced humans had discovered something profound. Evolution wasn't a ladder to climb or a race to win. It was a dance, a collaboration, a symphony of species growing together. Commander Vix, who had chosen to take awakening, stood as living proof. Her scales now shifted through colors previously invisible to her species. Her mind touched realms of thought that ancient Mariax philosophers had only dreamed of. She had become a bridge between what was and what could be. "Look at what we've become," Vix broadcasted to her people, her thoughts carrying the weight of personal transformation. Not through conquest, but through growth. Not through subjugation, but through elevation. Marcus, monitoring the quantum fields from the Evolution Response Center, watched as the truth spread through the Mariax fleet. Their poison hadn't just failed to conquer humanity. It had awakened something that would transform both species forever. The first Mariax ship to lower its weapons was a science vessel. Then another followed, and another. The soldiers aboard felt the touch of humanity's shared consciousness. Not an invasion, but an invitation. They saw through enhanced human eyes the universe of possibilities that awaited them. Admiral Zex, refusing to accept defeat, ordered his flagship to launch its entire arsenal. The weapons fired, streaking toward Earth's surface, but they never reached their targets. Enhanced humans across the planet simply willed the missiles to transform, their molecular structures shifting into harmless light. The display of power was matched only by its gentleness. No destruction, no death, just transformation. Zex's own crew, witnessing this, made their choice. The Admiral found himself alone in his conviction, his fleet turning away from war and toward evolution. The poison meant to enslave humanity had instead freed both species from the chains of their limitations. Sarah, her consciousness still linked with billions, felt the moment the last Mariax resistance crumbled. But instead of victory, she offered partnership. "Let us show you what we've learned," she broadcasted. "Let us grow together." The aftermath transformed galactic society. The Mariax, who had come as conquerors, became students and then partners. Their biological technology, combined with humanity's innovative spirit and newfound abilities, opened doors to evolution that neither species had imagined possible. Earth became a beacon, drawing curious species from across the galaxy. The story spread of a species that turned poison into potential, conquest into collaboration, and enemies into allies. Marcus, documenting it all, realized that the true gift of transcendence hadn't been the physical changes or even the enhanced abilities. It was the understanding that evolution wasn't about survival of the fittest, but about the elevation of all. In the decades that followed, humans and Mariax worked together to refine and share their enhanced capabilities. The poison that was meant to subjugate became a catalyst for a new kind of civilization, one where competition gave way to cooperation, and where the drive to conquer was replaced by the desire to grow. Sarah, watching Earth's glittering quantum-enhanced cities reach toward the stars, reflected on how far they'd come. The Mariax had tried to make humans dependent on their poison. Instead, humanity had shown them, shown everyone, that the greatest power wasn't in controlling others, but in helping them reach their full potential. The age of conquest was over. The age of shared evolution had begun. And it all started because some aliens thought they could poison humanity, only to discover that humans don't just survive toxins. They turn them into tools for transformation. In the end, humanity's greatest victory wasn't in defeating the Mariax, it was in showing them, and the galaxy, a better way to evolve. The poison meant to enslave them had become the key to universal enlightenment, proving once again that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their ability to fight, but in their capacity to transform, adapt, and grow. And somewhere in the vast quantum consciousness that now spanned species and stars, the first drop of transcendence that started it all remained as a reminder. Sometimes the greatest gifts come disguised as poison, and the best revenge isn't destruction, but evolution.